Hello, Virgo. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope that you're doing fantastic. And I've had a couple nights where I've gotten a lot of great messages coming through for your sign. So a few more note cards here than usual, which I'll be getting to in just a second. First things first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This furry little guy here is Apollo. I like to bring him out at the beginning so that he can share some calm. I know we've all been through some stressful days here. So let me talk a little bit about what's in store for you. I'm going to put him down so we can get to work. And let's discuss here. So first of all, this is for the sign of Virgo. I put it in the chat here, but you can use this for your sun sign, your rising, as well as your moon. And I welcome cross-watching. You can also look on behalf of somebody that you love or know in your life and be prepared to help them out with what's coming through. And the beginning portion of everything that I do, I really welcome everyone. So if you wanted to show up all 12 videos and kind of hang out at the beginning, the way that it works is it's channeled messages. So whoever shows up, I get messages for. Of course, I put the focus, specifically what I get in dreams for the sign, but there'll be a little bit of everything for whoever shows up. So let's talk about the structure and then we'll get into the good stuff here. I begin with all of these messages that you see laid out here on the table. And as I said, that comes to me through dreams, through meditation. And also as I select the deck of cards and start to meditate, I just start to get information. So I record all of that and we'll talk about that first. Then I selected a deck of cards that I'll be using for you. And we'll go into a Celtic Cross after that. The Celtic Cross, I allow to take whatever shape or form it needs to. So I know a lot of readers out there focus on your person or your career. That might be a part of it, but it's not solely all of it. Instead, I just kind of let the messages flow through the center part of that spread, and then I expand the forecast to look specifically at health, wealth, love, and then future insights, which I call destiny. So that way you kind of get a little bit of everything, and it's a much more organic way to read cards rather than focusing just on one of those areas. Then I'll review all of that once we kind of get through it, and we'll go a little bit deeper in the second part of the reading, which involves the soul path. And that actually takes its own shape and form based on what we see in front of us here as well. So it's fun, and even I will figure that out as we go through it. And then we'll go into a meditation that will help us sometimes release things. We've done a contract release earlier this month. Today, it will probably be a visualization for manifestation. So stick around if you want to call something in, because I think that will be very helpful. So we'll do a meditation that actually functions in a way to call in or to heal or to release something. And sometimes I pull a card after that. So it's worth sticking around. And that's the main organization of what we're going to do today. So good to see everybody. I see there are people from all across the world, and I know in Europe it's evening time. So thank you for sticking around and joining me around dinner time. And it's early in the morning in Australia. So anybody that's joining from all those different parts of the world, good to see you. Thank you. Let's talk one more thing, actually. Super chat. Let me tell you how that works here, and then we'll get started. So one other thing that kind of differentiates the way that I work versus others is I don't tend to answer questions in chat, mostly because it takes me out of the channel, and also for people that watch it on replay, that's not always a lot of fun for them. So I have separate events where I will sometimes take questions. This is not one of those. But what you can do if you like what you're seeing is you can use Super Chat to show support. And what it helps me do is keep up with all my supplies, because this is my job and this helps me do what I need to do here. And it also helps me continue to refresh my cards too. So thank you in advance. If you like what you see, show some love in the super sticker and super chat. I appreciate it. All right, let's talk about the channeled messages. By the way, I have two moderators here. They can answer your questions. Thanks to both Maria and Dakota for helping. All right, channeled messages, month of February for Virgo. Here's what's coming through for you. When I was dreaming last night, actually, pull out my iPad here because I had to look at this. I think we've all heard nightingales, but we don't know what they look like. So I had a nightingale coming in my dreams last night, and I'm like, what does this actually look like? What is this bird? It's a cute little bird. I thought it would somehow be much bigger than this, but apparently it just looks like a standard little, brown bird. Actually, it's quite cute when you look at some of the smaller pictures. And then I did some research on the nightingale, and it's actually the male bird that does the singing. They sing during the daytime too, but the nighttime singing is usually the male bird, and it's to find a partner. And I thought, that's a really cool bird to be coming in. I was actually singing to the bird as well in my dream. It reminded me a little bit of, it's almost kind of like, the Hunger Games where she was talking to that mockingjay, but it was a nightingale where I was calling to it and it was calling back. And so I thought about this a little bit, and I really feel like this is about manifestation for you. So some of you may be trying to pull in a partnership or a partner, but this could also be about pulling in a dream that you're looking for. The important thing for you to do this month is to visualize that which you seek. So you have the capacity to call things in, but just like the bird uses its voice to call for that partner, you have to do the same thing to kind of call in whatever it is you want to create. That visualization or the vocalization also of the dream or the vision or the thing that you want can take many shapes and forms. Part of this could just be a mantra or a prayer that you have each day about creating something. It could also be as direct as deciding like you need to talk to your manager at work about wanting to put your hat in for some sort of a promotion, raise, or opportunity or a project that you want to work on. If you have a partner in your life and you're already in a relationship, it could just be about having a little bit more of a heart-to-heart conversation and making sure that they understand what you need in the relationship to be happy. But specifically when you want something, you want to, achieve a certain goal or try to make a certain change in your life, stating it to the universe and saying, I'm ready for this and I'm ready for it now, will help open up the doors so that synchronicities can start to happen for you. We'll talk more about that in just a second. So this whole sort of nightingale piece was about manifestation, calling and answering. You're calling and the universe is answering back. This is basically manifestation. And if you were to pull a card in tarot, it would be like the Two of Wands, where you're looking at what it is that you want and you're waiting to hear, right? So I think that's really exciting and should have fun with it. That's what because when I was calling to the bird, it was playful. So when you are trying to make something manifest in your life, the key thing is you don't want to strangle it. You don't want to try to control it too much. It's just sort of like a back and forth dance that you're doing or a song. I'm ready for this. Let's see what happens. If it happens, it happens, but I'm really ready for it. So we'll see. You kind of like playfully wink and nod with the universe and it starts to open up. The other thing is, because I was listening to the bird sing, I think it's important for you to use your voice. And when I say voice, it can be literally your voice. It can also be your point of view, right? Because your voice can be sometimes shown in a drawing or a sculpture. It can be shown in how you write. It can be shown in the style of dress that you decide to kind of take on. Your voice, your style, your special something, whatever it is, it kind of differentiates you from others. So use your voice to your advantage is what I would say, and to also set you apart, because as we start to see, the economy eventually come back into something that's quote unquote normal, there's going to be more competition for jobs and more competition for, trying to be seen and heard. So if you have something unique to say, if you say it in a way that resonates, that's what's going to be key. Also, just looking at like dating in general, this is also about being yourself and being confident, and again, being ready and putting yourself out there. I think for some of you, you might just find that you're getting up early in the morning. Maybe you're getting up at 5 in the morning, or we've talked about the sort of midnight or 3 a.m. wake-up calls that a lot of intuitives get. If you get some intuitive information in the evening, do what I do. Wake up for a few minutes and tap it into your phone. That's how I get a lot of these cards. I do work in the middle of the night for you guys, but it's if I don't capture it then, I will not remember it. Dreams require almost immediate recording afterwards. When I record a dream, I don't write everything. I just will write maybe 5 words to help me go back into my head and think, oh yeah, I saw that. That's right. So we'll talk about this in a second. So the nightingale, I just remember singing to it back and forth, and I knew it was nighttime. So I kind of intuited that it was a nightingale, also from the sound of what it was singing. So just write down little notes like that. The next thing that I'll talk about in a moment was I saw like a nameplate on a door, and I'm going to tell you what that means. But let's look at the first line of messages, and I'll get to that. So basically, first and foremost, use your voice, listen to your inner voice. project to the universe mentally and even say it out loud too at home in a prayer or a meditation what it is that you want, and repeating positive affirmations about what you're becoming and what you're trying to do is also really important too. I am ready. I am doing this. Other people, will start to pick up on that confidence and that resonance. Okay. This next thing that I saw it's interesting. So let me just kind of talk about what it is, and then I'll go through every card. I saw in my head that you were part of a group or a team or a family, and it was sort of like you weren't the first choice. It was almost like you were a backup, but you were owning it, and you said something like, but I'm the best backup ever. And they were like, no, you're not. You were what we were waiting for. So if you are dating someone, interviewing for a job, trying to get an apartment, or just hanging out with a group of friends, and maybe it's like suddenly things just start to click. They may have one or two other people ahead of you, but something, maybe it's your voice, maybe it's your energy, maybe it's the ease with which you communicate with them, whatever, you just start to click. And suddenly they couldn't imagine how or why they would choose anybody else. So don't let it get to your ego if you weren't the first choice. Sometimes people just need to see what's out there, and then they're going to really appreciate it and maybe beat themselves up that they didn't see the potential. So don't sell yourself short. Don't be afraid to take over for someone else, and don't feel bad if, again, for some reason, you're the backup, you're the, like on like Broadway or West End, they have those people kind of waiting in the wings. I forget what it's called, but it's an actor that's like understudy, right? Or there's people in sports that are on the bench. You're going to have a chance this month if you're one of those people that are on the bench or an understudy. So be prepared, take advantage of it, and you might be surprised that something permanent can come from that. So now I'm going to go through all the cards. The permanent piece was that I saw a nameplate on the door. And with the nameplate, I didn't see what the title was, which tells me you could figure out what you want to do. I believe that's true anyway, and I don't think titles matter. I was in, a corporate career for a long time where one of the things that when I left my job that human resources said is, you're leaving your career behind. I'm like, not really. I'm just embarking on a new career. I'm trying something different. But when I left, I thought, I guess I kind of did, because I don't have the title before my name or whatever, but who cares? Because it's all imaginary anyway. But in this realm, you can actually create something. You're not limited by what's already out there, because the way in which we work has changed radically, because companies are, some of them are contracting, some of them are growing, some are just trying to figure out what's what. You have an ability to step in and show that, hey, this is a niche that needs to be filled. In relationships, I think the same thing is true. And in friend groups, the same thing is true. Sometimes people don't know that they're missing that special something until you show up. So that's what you are this month. I basically summarized all the cards organically, but I'm going to hit upon these just in case I missed something. So if you receive a call out of nowhere, or you see something that feels like it might be a long shot, or, I'm not going to get that kind of opportunity, first of all, reprogram your head and think, that's something I really want. I should try it. They might like me. They're going to like me. And just throw your resume in towards that. If you see someone that you want to date, if you see a group of friends that you want to hang out with, reach out, because you may surprise yourself on this. I also feel like this could be a synchronicity, that the fact that you're coming in at just the right time. One of my best jobs early in my career was one where I just did a cold email on New Year's Eve, and I was really interested in working for the company. And lo and behold, like right after the holiday, they got back to me and they said, yeah, can you come this Friday? And so sometimes there's an opening that hasn't been advertised. There's somebody that's looking for you, and you just have to state interest. So be ready and willing to jump in and help out. Give 110%. People will wonder how they got along without you. You're not the fill-in, by the way. You're the one that they've been waiting for. They might have been the one you've been waiting for, and you just hit at the right time. And like I said, you should envision success. I saw that nameplate on the door, and you can manifest this into a long-term sort of thing, and define your role however you would like to. So I think this is a great opportunity for you. Envision success, right? Okay. Let me get into the next thing. I had a repeated message here. So, all right, the next piece that I see is, oh yeah, okay. I feel like a lot of this is about you not leaning on other people so much. So just like the nameplate is showing you that you can do anything that you want, what I'm also seeing is you don't need somebody else there to tell you how to do it or why you should do it or what you're doing. So imagine now that you're going to start to be more self-sufficient. And for some of you, maybe you've been inspired to start a company. For the rest of you, maybe because you've been working on your own a little bit, you realize, hey, I'm actually decent at self-managing or project managing, and it's starting to open up new career potential for you. And I think that's exciting. So follow that line wherever it may lead for yourself, but I think some good things could come from it. Embrace what you have right now and don't take any shortcuts while you're doing it. If you're in a temporary job or if you're doing something that you want to get out of, just finish what you've started. Same thing for those of you that are in the middle of something like, taking classes. We're starting a new semester here for many of you. So just finish out this semester. Don't get disrupted or disappointed. There's a lot going on in the world that can bring you out of your focus. You have to keep looking at the long term. The nightingale is reminding you of the future, right? What you want to pay attention on. Because otherwise you're going to veer off track and then it'll be harder to catch up. I've been saying this consistently, but I think this year is really about staying the course because the growth really happens in 2022. So you're being tested this year to just sort of like hunker down, finish, and let's hope that by the end of the year we start to see some semblance of normalcy. But as I've been saying, everything's shifting. So the more that you are flexible with it and start to accept that this might be the way that we're working and studying, there's going to be elements of this in the future. So hopefully we go back to sort of being able to be in the same place at the same time, but there's still going to be remote teaching, learning, working, and probably less travel in the future, because guess what? We realized we could do it and save some money, and it's healthier, and it's just safer for now. So if you can start to thrive in this environment, you can thrive anywhere. So that's really what this test is about for you. Your hard work right now is going to open up a new opportunity, potentially where you're at, even if you don't like it. And that could still give you a little bit of extra resources until you find what you're looking for. Once you've set up your mind on a goal, do whatever is necessary to realize it. The tests, the tribulations, the trials that come along as you're going towards that, it's really just the universe saying, are you sure? Is this what you want? And you have to keep saying, yes, it is. Stop testing me. I'm absolutely ready. Go test someone else. This is what I want. This is kind of a continuation of that. And it came to me a couple nights ago as I was sitting in bed. The message that the universe gave to me for you was run towards something, not away from it. And this is interesting because sometimes when we manifest what we're looking for, it could be a partnership, it could be getting some sort of like a gold medal or a recognition. It's sort of scary because part of that is, uh-oh, now what? Or will I mess this up? Or am I in over my head? Don't go down that, rabbit hole. Stay instead in the positive, saying, all right, this is good. I'm going to keep moving towards this goal. And I want to see what's on the other side. I want to see what's beyond this. This doesn't define me. This isn't the end of the road. This is just one little signpost along the way. This is one exit. I can get back on the freeway afterwards. So run towards your goal, not away from it. If somebody's challenging you, if there's something you need to deal with, move towards that too and deal with it, because otherwise it's going to chase you. You want to be the one that is setting the course, not trying to make an escape, right? So I think that's key. And this is kind of like a play on words, but your presence is a gift, or you could say your presence is a present. So what you want to see is that as you being a part of a situation, a group, a relationship, that actually is good for the other person. It's also good for you, but never see yourself as like second in the sort of line of a succession or whatever. As I said before, you're not second. You're not a second choice. You're just in it at the right time. So realize that you being there is actually a gift, and you also called this in, so it's a gift to you. It's a lesson. It's a gift. It's mutual. You're both getting something out of this. If you're ever in a situation where it doesn't feel like it's a gift, then get through that lesson and dismiss it. As soon as you've understood why you were triggered, why you called something into your life, a lot of times these are relationships, then you can let it go and think, I'm ready for something more. This was all good and dandy, but I really would like something that's maybe more reciprocated or a little bit easier, a little less stress, etc. Okay. This is super important. What if we replace the word setback with recalibration? What if we imagine that whenever we hit some sort of a brick wall, a deadline, kind of turn in the road, it's actually there so that, speaking of that, that we can look in another direction, from another angle, gain a little bit of insight. Setbacks are just an opportunity to recalibrate, or recalibrations. So don't give up. Figure out why you've kind of been here in LA, and around where I live, there's some turnabouts. So on a turnabout, you can just go around and around and around and never go anywhere. But the interesting thing is, you get a chance, you have to kind of like pause as you go to each street. You've got a lot of different directions you can go. So on a regular straight road without one of those circles, those turnabouts, you don't always look at the different streets and the different opportunities. This month, you might be thrown one of those big round turnabouts, like you would see around in like the Arc de Triomphe or something like that, a big turnaround, and you have to think, where do I want to go? What's next? And you're pausing a little bit, you're recalibrating, but you might find a better direction or something that just feels a little bit more compatible with what you want, right? Okay. Celebrate your progress that you've made so far and be fully present. A lot of presence, gifts, but being present really means not sleepwalking through things. I think we've all been guilty of this at some point. Sometimes you aren't listening to someone that's speaking, whether it's your partner or a teacher or a friend, you're just not there. Sometimes work is not interesting or is stressful, so we go somewhere else in our head while we're doing something. Be a little bit more present and think, what am I doing here? What am I doing here and why am I here? And then after that existential crisis sets in, then you can think, all right, what am I going to do about this? And that's going to wake you up and help you start to make a change, of course, because you don't want to sleepwalk too long in something. Just like literal, not figurative, but literal sleepwalking, you can hurt yourself. You can end up just doing something that you don't want to do. So in a real life situation, a relationship or a job in particular, where you've been in it too long, you don't recognize the person, or you're not paying attention, or you're just waiting for the week to go or the hour to go or that person to leave. It's sort of like you deserve better and so do they. So this is really an awakening. The celebrating your progress is important though, because I think sometimes we do too much comparison, and you look at other people in your life, you look at some of the goals that you set up for yourself, and you forget, but wait a second, look at how far I've come this week, this year, this decade, and you can start to really realize how much you've grown. And it takes a moment, takes a pause for that to happen. So with the way that time is working right now, have you noticed that over the course of 2020 and now 2021, that it feels like every day is jam-packed with changes? I mean, in the news, in the world, some other parts of our life have slowed down. For those of you that might be between jobs or feeling a little less inspired by school and other things, or even just relationships because of the social distancing and quarantine. But other parts, it feels like the world is rapidly changing. And by the time we all get back on it, it's sort of like we're going to be running to catch up. So that's why I want everyone to stay awake, stay aware, and keep working, keep getting ahead so that it won't be catch up for you. Take some time to get away from things. Smell the flowers, literally and figuratively on this too. If you're in snow country right now, upper northern hemisphere, or if it's, just inclement weather, the smelling the flowers can just be about like getting outside of your normal routine, reading a book, picking up the phone and talking to an old friend. For those of you that are in good climates where the weather is supporting like going for a hike or a walk, that's a great thing to do. So because you're going to get clean air, you're going to clear your head, and you're connecting with the earth elements and also that beautiful green energy that's going to open up your heart space as well. So try to break the cycle a little bit of your routine. I think that's going to be really important. As you allow yourself to rest and quote unquote take stock, you may actually find inspiration or have this sort of epiphany where all of a sudden you get a new idea, like, oh, why haven't I been thinking about this? I meant to do this, or I should call this person, or, oh, I wanted to follow up on this. we have to stop thinking so that we can start getting like making sense again sometimes. So I feel like you need to just clear your calendar a little bit, give yourself 30 minutes. When I did have my old stressful job, I would walk to lunch every day. I could have made it, but I preferred to go somewhere to eat so that I had 30 minutes. I would only have maybe 10 minutes to eat, but I walked for 10, I ate for 10, I walked back. So I got 20 minutes of exercise. I got away from the office. Nobody bothered me in that 30 minutes, and it was awesome. So you can carve it out of a schedule, even a really busy schedule. Or I would go and I would get like an iced tea or something at a local cafe or something if I was really busy and I could only take a 10 or 15-minute break. You need those breaks for sanity, though. And then I would think of other things. The minute I got out of the office, I would start to remember other things that I needed to focus on. So clear your mind, clear your plate. Even busy people can meditate and make space. Sometimes I would just sit outside and do nothing because I was tired of focusing. We need to rest our brains a little bit. Sleep is not enough. Sleep actually is your body repairing itself. And for those of us on this channel like myself that do a lot of dream work, I work when I sleep sometimes. It's astral projection. I'm getting information. I'm processing what I need to be focusing on. So meditation's still important in addition to sleep. So there you go. Always have something else that you're looking at, like another passion, another goal, inspiration. So it doesn't matter how successful you are or how busy you are, you should be thinking sort of long-term. It's good to have ideas for retirement. If you're retired, it's good to make plans for the next trip that you're doing. If you're a kid in school, you're trying to figure out like, all right, now what am I going to do? What's my sort of goal? What's the next internship? What do I want to, where am I trying to go professionally? What schools and opportunities will open that up? Always be thinking about that. And then once you've done that, then do some stuff for fun. If you want to, learn music, if you want to write, if you want to paint, if you want to learn to tango, I don't care. Just do some stuff because you want to do some stuff. So always have stuff to occupy yourself as well for fun and also to pull yourself further along. I think the mind wants to be kept busy, and you should always be, especially for those of you that are unemployed or retired, do some things that create a sense of feeling like you have a reason to get up in the morning. Get excited about life, because that excitement then is going to attract new and better things. And because you have the nightingale energy this month, you want the call and answer to be positive, not sort of reinforcing a fear or an anxiety. All right, let me stack up all of these index cards and we're going to get into the Celtic Cross. A reminder that at this point I will remain quiet so that I can just pay attention to the messages. But after I do that, I will bring each and every card up and we'll talk about what's coming through. Again, this can be always used for sun, rising, and moon. If you happen to join a little bit late, you can even watch it for other aspects of your chart. If you know things like Venus or anything else, you can look at it for that as well. Okay, let's take a look and see what's coming through. All right, everyone. Thank you for giving me a moment to get everything set up here. And let's take a look at what's coming through for you. All right. So this is a very interesting card for your catalyst here. Whenever I see a nimbus or a halo around the crown chakra, what it's really showing me here is a sort of, you're in a receiving mode. And the energy on this one is very sort of the color of the heart chakra here. So I kind of see like the heart and maybe like root a little bit. So looking at elements of where you're feeling safe in your life, and then also allowing yourself to feel more at ease with, again, taking a risk, taking a leap of faith. What I've been saying about the manifestation comes through in here, calling and answering, or sending and receiving. So I often use the metaphor of being a satellite, right? So in this particular situation, you could set the intention, or in this month, I should say, because we're looking at February, start to set the intention that I am ready to receive guidance, insight, and I also want to see synchronicities in a way that I don't have to question. I know that it's happening. This is for certain. So I feel like if you start to put that sort of broadcast out there, you'll receive it. Be open. As I said earlier, jot things down, whether it's literally writing things down on a note card or tapping them into your mobile device. Take some time to record it, because you are in that act of receiving. And the crown chakra is open. The crown is our connection to the universe. So it should be easier. There should be the first thing, the thing on the top of your head that you really feel like you need to be dealing with. That's what you should do. If you wake up in the morning and think, I want to do this, or this is important, or as you're listening to someone, they could be saying one thing, but their physical energy or the way that they're talking is actually implying something else, then you should go to that and say, you know, I feel like we should actually talk about this first, and then we'll deal with what you're saying, because until we deal with this, it's going to be difficult. So follow your intuitive flow. You're going to be able to sort of see through things. Use your heart to also feel out the situation, and then just ground yourself, because we saw a lot of grounding colors there as well. All right. Good card, good messages. All right. Your center card is Justice, and the card is reversed. Justice is about balance, as you can see with the scales here. When the scales are reversed, a lot of times with this, it actually means you've made a decision to release. I need to quit this job. This relationship isn't working, or we need to work on it a lot because otherwise I can't stick around. You might decide to let go of something in your life, a habit. I'm going to stop, drinking coffee, or I'm going to, take this more seriously. I'm going to be more accountable. You can put it in the positive too. But typically it's just about deciding to do what's right and not to sort of put up with what isn't anymore. So because it's at the center, it feels like the first thing that you need to do is to achieve the proper balance this month and to speak up, state your claim. You got some big cards this month, I have to say. We've got Justice, the World. We've got an unknown card here called the Fountain, because this is Fountain Tarot. So this is like, 79 cards. So there's an extra one. We have the Death card and the Six of Swords. So change, 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 and the unknown. So I'm going to walk through this. So this is basically saying death can be stagnation. It can be change. It can be the unknown. This is a sort of nocturnal card. We have a horse here at nighttime. For some of you, you might be receiving the messages in dreams too, because I got the nightingale bird that came through. So I want you to not be afraid to step into this sort of unknown, right? And to make the change necessary. For some of you, you may feel like it's unfair. What you lost, what happened, who you lost, it's dealing with change and thinking, I don't like this change. That's okay. But you can't necessarily control the fact that the change has happened. You can control how you want to react to the change, but you can't make it stop. The Wheel of Fortune, the world, death, they kind of work no matter what. They're cosmic universals. And so the best thing that you could do right now is to go into, why am I triggered by this change? Or why am I afraid of making the necessary change? Because the Justice card underneath tells me that you already know it. I know it's got to happen, or I know I need to do it, but why am I having trouble with it? We'll look at this in a second too. And that's going to help you more than trying to stop it, because from what I see, it's already happened. It's already happening. So let's figure out how we can get you prepared. We're going to start with the deep past. For some of you, it feels like you really like to have a schedule, a blueprint that you can depend on. The Hierophant is an organized sort of fellow. I like this Hierophant because he's in the discovery mode. He's saying, what if I look outside of the box? What if or look inside and see what else I can do with things? There's insight. It's going into your old library, your old collection of things, like dusting things off. What have I forgotten about? What else can I do? There's a lot that you can do. So you have to just keep imagining the possibilities and go into that virtual toolbox in your heart and your soul and in your energy and think, okay, there's another way around this. I can package this in a different way. So the Hierophant doesn't have to be at all stuck or old-fashioned. A Hierophant also is spiritual, right? Like in different decks, you'll see sometimes it can be like the Pope, right? So what I would say is, sometimes it's a shaman. I like those decks as well. But basically for me, this means that you have a connection to the divine and you just need to trust it. You go back into this saying, okay, I don't know everything. So I'm just going to start to receive insight and ideas, and I'm going to follow through on those and stop being stuck in a certain way of doing it. So release what has worked because it doesn't anymore. Rearrange that box a little bit. Try it again. You've got the experience on your side, or expertise or acumen. You've got what it takes, but you can't make it fit in that box anymore. It's kind of like Pandora. She gets a bad rap. She just wanted to open the box. She didn't know what was in it. But once you open the box, the stuff is out. By the way, in that particular myth, hope is what remains. So could it be that after all the crazy stuff that's been going on, you're starting to discover hope and epiphany and an idea within this? That's what I see anyway. So have hope, take a second look at it. Remember that was what was given to humankind in that myth anyway, was hope. We got to keep hope. So that's actually what carries us through things. In my book, that's one of the characters too. I think that we can't really exist without hope. So you have to have hope, you have to have faith, and you have to work towards what it is that you're trying to do. And that's the next card. Nice transition there. Nine of Wands is not giving up and completing that which you've already began. Sometimes with the Nine of Wands, there's this feeling of you can kind of fall into a trap of defeating yourself and just kind of letting go at that last minute when it's almost finished, but you just think, I can't do this anymore. Or someone gives you this moment of self-doubt where they make you wonder, are you wasting your time? Have you done something that doesn't make sense? You know, you and only you can decide what's right for yourself. And sometimes people come in just to throw you off your game. So what I'm seeing here is that you're very close to completion. So finish whatever you've began and really get that off your plate so that there's no regrets. And the other thing with this, if for some reason, let's say that for sure with these two cards, this could be like a layoff or something was taken away from you or you lost someone or something. When that happens, it's normal, it's natural to feel a little bit of anger and you have to go through the grieving process. But this is the ultimate, I would say it's probably the ultimate survivor card. It's about being able to push through things. Typically, you'll see someone with a bandage on their forehead. On this one, which just symbolizes, hey, I've been through it a few times, but I'm still standing. And literally, you see them standing with all the wands behind them. All the lessons, all the strength, and all that sort of reserve of energy. I'm not going to give up, right? In this one, we see someone just getting right back to work, finishing it up, okay? Completing that building, which they've already started, the construction. So don't give up. The World card is your crowning card. It's a beautiful world, by the way. Let's turn it up, right? So with the World card, this can be a big expansion moment for you. But because it's reversed, it's going to involve possibly doing something that puts you out of your comfort zone. It could involve a physical move. It could involve dealing with someone or something that you haven't done. It's unknown. It's especially since we literally have this fountain or unknown card here, which I'll talk about. But this is a portal that you're kind of getting a chance to go through. You have to try it from a different perspective, though, for it to work. So we have the discovery here in the Hierophant. Wow, there is more than one way to do this. There's an opportunity now. I lost something. It didn't feel right, but something better has come along, something that I didn't expect. I don't know where it's going to go, do I? But I think I'm going to try that. That's kind of what I see with this. For the rest of you, it's telling me that it's never over. Like this, first of all, we live this life that we're in, we'll live it once, but we live many, many lives. And we've been on this planet many times, on other planets many times. So make the most. This is about being present again and starting to open up these portals, these opportunities. It's never over. You're never done. Death is just a portal. And that's what we see here. So any full stop, any dead end, any door that has closed actually allows for another one to open up. It just is the way our soul energy works. It's just the way energy in general works. So I want you to imagine, instead of this is it, whatever it is, like either you've succeeded and now you think I don't know what to do next, or you've failed and you think now it's over, or you lost something and you think it's been taken away. Only if that's what you focus on. You have to start to look around, be present, and try new things. Open up the next door. Keep opening the doors up until you find where you need to go. Don't stop. And that's what we see here with the fountain. It's basically, this reminds me of, if you've seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, the movie. This is like the Stargate, right? Where you see the monolith and they go into the monolith, which is the Stargate, actually. That's what I see with this. So it's unknown. You will end up in a completely different place. We talked about sleepwalking. This would be like finally waking up and thinking, oh my God, how did I end up here? Where is this at? I think you could be surprised at the potential. So yes, it's been tough. For all of us, the planet has gone through justice reversed. This isn't right. This feels weird. I don't want this. We've seen death in all its forms. Change, rebirth, disease, all of it. But we are now entering into a new phase on a planetary level and for your sign as well. Let's look at your sign specifically. It's time to move on. You're getting a clear message here for release and also for, I mentioned earlier, don't run away from things, run towards things. So I see the Six of Swords as sailing towards your dream, letting go of something that didn't work, working towards something that will, right? So I think that's important for you, okay? Okay, Nine of Cups in reverse. This is going to be really important for you because it's all about perspective. The Nine of Cups is basically a chance for you to look at things from a positive perspective. But for those of you that are very traditional or very hard on yourself, Nine of Cups can come through when somebody gives you constructive feedback. There's a delay. You have self-doubt. Something comes through where you think, uh-oh, it's not working. And now I'm depressed. You can go from super, super energized to deflated. You don't have time for that right now. So we need to have like a big sail on the back of this, and it needs to be your inspiration that's pushing this little sailboat, right? So it's okay to have a moment of uh-oh, or someone that does something like that that kind of tries to get you in your headspace. Take a deep breath. As you blow out that toxicity and your own sort of self-defeatist energy, you're actually going to re-engage the sails of your life, and you're going to start to move forward, and you're going to say, it's one person, it's one thought. Let's get back to it. Engage with that Nine of Wands energy. Start to be positive again and think, you know what, I'm excited about this and this. I'm going to focus on that today instead of what that person said, and I'm just going to put my headphones on and get some work done, okay? So compartmentalize, disconnect, because literally for some of you, it's time to separate from somebody. These are cards of divorce and separation for sure. The Justice card in reverse and the Six of Swords. It can also be about eliminating stuff that you don't need, cutting ties. It doesn't have to literally be that divorce, but the fact that we got both plus the World, I see that it's time to move on. The World, by the way, is a really cool card for anybody that is an artist out there. So if you paint, write, act, play music, perform in any function, or have a product or service, maybe you're an engineer and you have like a patent for something and somebody's interested in it. This is about distribution. This is about exposure. This, very much like the Star card, tells you that you don't even know how far that could go. So just imagine that some really great breakthroughs are possible, okay? One last allusion to 2001. in that movie, there's like a sort of like a star child at the end, right? And if you have never read the book is better because it explains the Stargate better and also what's going on with the main character. But basically, he kind of goes through that Stargate and is reborn on some levels, if you're wondering what the symbology stands for in the movie. And he's more than human then. He's kind of like a combination of alien and human, or more than, basically what we all are on our soul level. Imagine if we could take our soul energy and have it fully and readily available in this body. That's kind of, I think, what that future evolved form is. Maybe one day we'll get there. Right now, we're still just trying to get through this pandemic and trying to get through each and every day. But I believe in the potential of not just humanity, but like the soul. And we are more than just humans too. We live many lives, many different forms. So this is just saying, don't limit yourself, right? Because I think this is a rebirth year, long story, not getting us back on path. That little baby is saying, this is a chance to be reborn. Death is rebirth. So the reason my guides are showing me the little star child is it doesn't come through on this card. There should be a rebirth message too. So what would you do next? And why are you delaying kind of going down that path? Run towards, not away. That's the one big theme that has kind of been going through my head all morning. It feels like as we go into February and beyond, it's going to be busy. Look how this is kind of pointed on the horizon. This is showing us ostensibly the next 6 to 8 months, not just February. So 8 of Wands tells me this is all leading us to a point, to like this is for a purpose, a better destination. It is about expansion, ultimately. It is about growth, ultimately. If you have a business, this is about things starting to pick up in the long run. But it might be about starting a new one, because the death card could be just deciding to walk away from something that you have, and this is creating something new, reassembling things, being more focused, trying it in a different way. I do see a better horizon. This is in the opportunity space, so that looks good. By the way, the Nine of Cups was in the environment, so you could also have somebody around you that is manic rather, or sort of depressed. So if they're manic or they're depressed or they're kind of riding that wave, try to not feel like you have to control that. That person's in their own zone and that could take you out of your practice or out of your focus. So if they need help, get them help, but they could also just be dealing with grief or stress in a different way. Try to stay focused and not get involved in that kind of energy, because it's hard to control. Finally, I love that we have King of Swords here. This is your voice. This is what we talked about way back at the beginning with the nightingale. So King of Swords is fantastic for anybody that's in communications, anything that you want to share in spoken communication. This is a good time for you. It's also a good time to write a contract or set things into motion. So I love that it's the outcome card. I love that it's upright. And even though it's almost like he's just peeking through this rainbow of energy. So we can kind of see his hand and his head peeking through here. But the King of Swords is reminding you that you can make great strides and you can actually touch a lot of people's lives through what you do, through what you say, through your actions. So take some action on this. These are fantastic cards to have at the top. So that's your crowning card. That's your outcome. The World reverse is just saying, it's kind of like your world is getting flipped around too. You're going to have to kind of try things that otherwise you would think, what am I doing? Why am I here? How is this happening? And it's going to be okay. All right. Just in case we didn't get the point, the universe is showing us here in the expanded forecast, when it comes to health, you have to make some changes. So you have 2 death cards. For some of you, you're dealing with a couple of changes in your life. So this could be maybe deciding to let go of a house or an investment. Maybe that was precipitated or it was brought about by a job that you needed to release. So a lot of changes, sometimes a couple of losses, but remember, it's bringing you towards new growth and new horizons. So sometimes those things hold us down or hold us back. This literally could be the loss of somebody in your life. And because we are in a pandemic, there's no way that I could not read the death card in that way. So for some of you, you are dealing with the loss of a friend or a loss of a loved one. There could be a couple of losses in your family. You could also be mourning the loss of the old world that we used to know. It feels like every single day, something changes. For those of us that are here in the US, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're not going to get into that here today. What this is about is really making sure that you move through changes and feel like I'm okay. I can survive the changing world. How do I want to participate and make it better? I mentioned earlier, like every conversation, every action that we do, you should leave the place or the conversation or the situation or the person better than how it was when you started. If you're not in some sort of a sort of reciprocal energy where it feels better when you're done, that's time to walk away then. It's time to let it go. In order to be healthy, you have to change. So do you feel better after that exchange? In a relationship, at work? If you're also trying to change something in your life, letting go of a habit like drinking too much, eating too much, doing the wrong thing, whatever it is, drugs, once you kind of are engaging with that, if you feel worse after you do it, and if it doesn't leave you better, and if you don't leave it better, then it's a sign for that change to happen. So the way that we can embrace the energy of transformation is by saying, I can make things better in baby steps. I can talk to someone. I can hold space for them, make them feel, that's what I do for you guys here. Try to make things a little bit better than how it started. I can choose not to be afraid. I can choose to inform myself and decide how I want to make a difference. So instead of reacting emotionally, I can take action and decide, all right, this is something that can help me prepare for this. I can do this instead. So getting a plan of action, helping people around you, always elevating, always improving, and always trying to find the 9 of Cups energy, which is there is something to look at from the positive perspective here. The caption on this one is good. It says, I'm learning that endings are beginnings. That's what I've been kind of talking about quite a bit. Even as we look here at this sort of flower, the whole cycle of plants, the whole reason that they flower is so that, the pollination can happen and that they can reproduce, and then the flower dies. But when that flower dies, that seed pod can get carried away by birds or by the wind or whatever, and the cycle repeats. So nothing can last forever. We have to have death and rebirth. So embrace that cycle of change and just decide what you want to change, how you want to fall into it, and what opportunities could open up. It's exciting because you're no longer constrained by expectations. You can't afford to be anymore. Looking specifically at the cards themselves for health, I think for some of you, you're just really missing traveling, getting out there. So that's why I was saying little tiny things like walking with your dog or doing just a walk outside, even if it's alone. It's good to smell the fresh air even through the mask, and see the birds and do all of that, because it just reminds you like life is okay. And even if it's snowy weather, getting outside. I used to live on the East Coast and I lived in the Rocky Mountains, so I remember snow. There's something magical about the snow. Sometimes you could even hear the snow falling. The icicles on the trees, I remember, was beautiful. Even like the first frost or the first snow, it's beautiful, right? Like there's something magical about winter too, because it helps us miss all the green, all the flowers, and it's reminding us this can be beautiful, but now you better celebrate that other season when it comes around. So seasons of your life are no different. Loss and rebirth, it's a part of that cycle. What you should focus on this month is physical strength. Whenever I see a physically intense card like the 9 of Wands, I would say things like Pilates, push-ups, very light yoga for those of you that might be unable to move as much, or even like if you're constrained to a chair, you can do sort of chair-based yoga as well for seniors, or if you're in a wheelchair, there's a lot of things that you can do to stay fit, stay healthy. So look at building up your physical fitness. That's the main thing that I'm seeing here. And then of course, I believe emotional well-being is the most important thing. So if you're dealing with any sort of mental health issues that you need to get help for, whether it's depression or there's a chemical imbalance, or you're not sure, just talk to somebody. That's a sign of strength, and it's going to help you take advantage of the opportunities that do want to come through. All right, let's move along to wealth, which can be career, it can be money, it can be opportunities. In the flow, which is what I've been talking about. Everything is smooth sailing. The card was reversed, but what we see there is basically an airborne 6 of Swords. So if you can start to navigate what's going on in your life and think, all right, I'll take this turn. I'll see where it brings me. I want to explore where that takes me next, and just sort of like one day at a time. That's all we can really do right now sometimes, one day at a time. Focus on the long-term goal, but then take it a day at a time, and be kind to yourself and be kind to others, right? Okay. Next, we have, actually, I want to look at one other thing with wealth. I love that we have the World card. We didn't get any pentacles. It doesn't happen all the time. Maybe once every couple months, I'll see a spread which has no kind of resource cards. But the World card for me means that you can change things up and that you have what you need to make it work. It's a resourceful card, and you're going to grow. So wherever you're at, even if you feel limited resources right now, it was to push you towards something else, towards another path, moving on. And I feel like there might have been, again, a couple of doors that have closed for you. Death and death could also be one job ended and then another job ended, or you've gone for a couple interviews and nothing's working. Don't give up. Keep moving. Remember what I said, setbacks or recalibrations. The universe is actually saying, not this one, not that one, this direction. So tune in a little bit. Okay. Looking at, this is health and wealth. Let's look at love. We have the up card reverse. So try to look up if you can. Try to look at it from a different perspective. It's the color of the throat. By the way, the death card is lower chakras. So I feel like focusing on your root and sexual chakra is going to be important. So that's first and second. And we can meditate on that. One of the ways that you can work on that is by imagining that you're just like a tree, pushing roots into the ground and reaching up towards the sky, but basically grounding yourself. With this, with your throat chakra, singing will help, talking will help, chanting will help, and writing as well. It's a nonverbal form, but it's using the throat, basically the energy of the throat. So communication in relationships is essential. And there are so many different ways that you can show how you feel. So for a loved one, this could just simply be a matter of making them their favorite meal, doing the laundry for them, calling a friend that you haven't heard from for a while and just saying, you know what, you've been on my mind today. How are you? What's going on? It's so nice to receive those calls sometimes because like, I don't need anything. I just want to hear from you. How are you? Hold space. So there's a lot of ways you can say, I love you, I miss you, or anything else that you want to say, simply by showing up and giving them space, and then they'll probably help you into that. Have you ever noticed that? Sometimes where there's something that you have to say and you're struggling with it, the other person's like, I already know what you want to say. I think I shared this before when I quit my job. The first thing that my boss said when I scheduled the appointment, she said, you're quitting, aren't you? I said, yes, but let me tell you why. So a lot of times it's already there. It's already out there. And it's easy. Saying I'm sorry, saying I love you, saying I quit, saying whatever it is, the work's already been done out in outer space. You just have to catch up here in the throat. So get it out, one way, shape, or form. Talking to a friend, talking to a therapist is a great way to practice so that you have the guts to do what you need to do when the time is right. Again, I feel like emotions are going to be an important thing to temper. So 9 of Cups I love, 9 of Cups reverse I don't love, because sometimes when we're really, really triggered, we can feverishly type that note to someone. I said this for the last sign that I read, but it's really important for you too. Edit it. Go through there and just decide, all right, what I'm really trying to say is this. So type it, delete it, and then redo it from memory, but a lesser version of it. And then do it one more time. Do it a few times. And it's that last draft where you're just maybe getting it down to 2 or 3 sentences. Imagine that you're the one that has to read it. Have you ever received an angry note from someone that spans like 6 or 7 pages? You can't even digest it. Or it starts off like, let me tell you why I'm angry. It's sort of like, I can't. So you want to start off by saying, I would love to chat with you, or I know we've been having a hard time. I think we can work it out. Let's talk. That's a lot more welcoming, and it's still a little scary, but you can deal with it. So if there's a conflict, go in that easily. If it's good news, don't worry, like share the good news. And if it's important for you, if it's a coming out, like either like a wedding announcement or maybe someone that you're dating and you're afraid if you're going to get approval, just say it, spit it out, because you've got to live your life. The World card is really about being authentic. When you see the nudity in tarot, whether it's the star or the world card, that's because there's nothing to hide anymore. It's not salacious, it's symbolic. If you look at Roman and Greek statues, divinity, gods and demigods are usually, gods are fully naked. Demigods usually are partially naked. It's the same sort of thing. It's showing that you're more divine. So when you're sort of out there and you don't have to hide anymore, it's sort of like, this is me. This is what I authentically am. So I feel like in communication this month in relationships, it's about being authentic, about revealing, but revealing with a sense of joy and love. Because I love you, I want to share this with you. That's how you come out with an announcement. If you want to resolve a conflict, you say, this relationship means more to me than this disagreement that we have. Let's work it out, right? Both of those are good. I love you, so I want to share this with you. You are of value with me, so we're not going to waste more time arguing about this. Let's move on to the next thing, or let's figure out how to fix this. But you don't have to worry because I'm not going anywhere. So that's a more valuable way to kind of go about that. But open up your throat. For the rest of you, could just be writing stuff down, singing, expressing yourself. There could be an artistic inspiration that comes through from a place that you don't know where, but just go with it because it's cool. So there you go. Alrighty, let's go to the Destiny card. We have trusting and thriving. I love it. We have the stag here. So I think with this, the timing piece, or I didn't see timing, but that's actually what I'm intuiting. So to trust yourself and thrive, trusting yourself, this would be your intuition. So for those of you that are starting to awaken, we have it here in this sort of nimbus here in this catalyst card. I would say the important thing for you is to not second guess that which comes to you through meditation, through dreams, or what I like to say whispers of intuition, because that first thought that you're receiving is the strongest. So trust that. Thrive. For thriving to happen, you have to be present. You have to be willing to sort of move towards something that's unknown or uncomfortable and decide, I'm going to do this. It's okay. I'm going to be fine. And then timing isn't there, but that's the third one that Spirit gave to me. Everything happens in the right time. You can also kind of send out to the universe that you're ready sooner for something to happen. So send that out and say, you know what, I've waited a long time. I'm ready for this. And if not now, then I'm going to refocus and go on something else. Just about the time you're ready to let go of something, it comes in. Have you ever noticed that? When you want to break up with someone, when you're ready to quit, when there's a bunch of other things, it's like an opportunity will open up that makes it harder to do what you want to do. That's also a test from the universe. But it cuts both ways. Because you're detached, the other thing wants you a little bit more. So one thing you can do is kind of like not want it so much. When you get to a point where you don't want it or need it as much, the universe knows you're ready for it. If you want it too much, it's probably not going to happen. You have to be in that place of ease. So that's the message there. Let's review everything. And I want to make sure we have enough time. I'm looking at the clock to get into the soul space and the meditation. So I'm going to try to do a quicker review here, and we'll get to that. Okay, so reviewing what we've talked about. Your spirit totem today is the nightingale. Makes a lot of sense because we talked a lot about communication. Like the nightingale calls for a partner. It's usually the male bird that does that. You have the chance to bring in something new into your life. And it requires, however, that you actually use your voice or visualize or demonstrate. Somehow show the universe, this is what I want. Call it into being. And it's a call and answer. And that call and answer is going to come in the form of, like I said, dreams, intuition. For those of you that are blessed with being clairaudient, it could be clairaudience. But it's ultimately about manifestation. So use your voice, both your literal voice and then also that voice that comes across in, like I said, how you dress, what your opinions are, basically the symbolic voice, and allow that to really to be heard and to be seen. And one of the things that I wrote here is to make sure that nobody makes you water that message down, especially if you're an artist or a writer. Make sure that you get to do the type of art that you want to do. You may find increased energy either late at night or early in the morning. Use it, go with it. Whenever it comes, that's the time to kind of like strike while the iron's hot. If you receive a call out of nowhere or you see an opportunity that you think might be a little tough to kind of reach out for, do it anyway. It's come to you. You've called it in. It could actually be a synchronicity. And so you don't want to let that go. You worked hard to create that, right? Okay, the next message here is to be ready to jump in, help out. Even if you weren't the first choice of something, people are going to wonder, like, why wasn't this person the first choice? They're amazing. And you'll surprise yourself, you'll surprise other people. You're not a fill-in. You're actually the one they were looking for, and they might be the one that you've been calling in as well as the nightingale. I saw a nameplate on that door of wherever you're working. There was no title. That means you can make your own, and you should envision success as a part of this journey. You're being encouraged to lean on yourself. Forget that song, Lean on Me. Lean on you and gain your independence. Really feel the strength and the power that you can bring to a situation. Be the leader. And I really think that you want to embrace here and now. You have to act here and now, and don't take any shortcuts. You've worked hard to get where you're at. Don't sort of like fall short on the last mile, and that's what we saw with the Nine of Wands here. Your hard work is going to pay off. It'll open up a new opportunity. And once you've set your mind to a goal, you really want to embrace that. And more importantly, or even most importantly, make sure that you're running towards that, not away from that. Always run towards something. Your presence is a gift to others as much as their presence is a gift to you. It's a mutual blessing, if you will. Any setbacks that you have are actually moments of recalibration. So don't give up. Try to just evaluate what that recalibration is. Celebrate your progress and be present. No more sleepwalking. Make time to look around and smell the flowers. Take in the sights and the sounds, both figuratively and literally, depending on the weather of where you're living. As you start to give yourself that mental reset, that's when inspiration, epiphanies, brainstorming starts to happen. And always think of something new. This is a good time during those sort of walks with nature and with yourself. Think of the next big thing that you want to focus on, and know that you're already calling that into existence. All right. There's a lot of change going on for you. We have justice, death, the world, and the Six of Swords. And right next to them is the Fountain card, which in this particular deck would sort of be like, if this is the world, this is the universe. And this is also sort of like the unknown. That's why we see the Stargate. A big breakthrough is kind of on your horizon. It's up to you when you want to do it, but it looks like 2021 is going to bring some significant changes to your life if you're ready and you're willing. You have to accept that, and the acceptance is part of this. This justice reminds me a lot of judgment, even though it's not. So it's like it's already happened, but it's the acceptance of that is going to be important. Working hard, thinking outside of the box, focusing on hope, expanding your thoughts, your ideas, possibly distributing them a bit, being open to what that might be. Knowing here with the Fountain that there's great potential. You shouldn't limit yourself. Let the sky be the limit. I also see with this that if you are working on your own company or your own project, this is globalization. So the world and the Six of Swords would be about reaching a different audience. If you're looking for a job, this could also be about looking out of state or out of country for that particular job. Same thing for love. It's not your usual type. It's going to be this person would be coming from a different place. So you're going to have to open up to where that might be. Don't sort of like limit anything. At its best this month, the Nine of Cups is bringing you inspiration. At its most challenging, it could be someone in your life that can't see the positive or is kind of erratically going high and low. If you're feeling that, talk to someone. If they're feeling that, maybe get them some assistance if they are open to that. Try to look at it from the most constructive and positive side. There's a lot going on. You don't want to miss anything. That's why there's been so many messages about being present. Eight of Wands just tells me that no matter what, there's just so much happening that you have to stay focused. And that's why I like that this one shows everything going to a horizon point. Your voice matters. We talked quite a bit about that. There's so many ways you can express yourself through thoughts, through words, through paintings, through actions. You just decide how you want to do that. And I see some great energy of change here. The world, the Fountain, the Eight of Wands, the King of Swords. Everything here is really good. This stuff is about comfort with change and or ambiguity. Ambiguity just meaning the unknown. The unknown could actually be good. So put that into your mental space. What if something amazing happens? The second movie was not as good as the first, but if you ever watch, I think it was like 2010 or something, there was a second movie, but something wonderful is going to happen. That actually was a part of that 2001 sequel. It was not as good as the original, but there was some cool stuff. And the original actor that played the guy that became the star child was in it. So sidebar, good couple of movies to check out. All right. In the expanded forecast, change up your habit, change up your environment. If there's anything that you've lost, get the help that you need to process the loss. And remember that death is also rebirth. For wealth, go with the change, go with the flow. You can't change it. We have the world, the unknown, and then the Six of Swords. So a new possibility coming in, and it all looks good from what I can see. So I feel like if you can just move with that energy of change, you'll be in a good space. Things are looking up for you, especially in relationships, but it requires honesty and transparency. Trust yourself, trust in timing. Know that the two of these things will help you thrive and grow in the long run. All right. These antlers here are just like what we saw with the Catalyst card. It's another, have you ever noticed in like Druid type decks or pagan decks, you'll see a lot of antler type gods. That's just their sort of equivalent to the nimbus, because those antennae are reaching out into the cosmos. So when I'm looking at this, it's also putting your antenna out there and tuning into what you're receiving, right? Okay. Let's go into the soul space a little bit and let's do some investigation here. I want to see what the double death cards are about. What's the change and what's the resistance around the change? How can you best use this to kind of create the portal that we see with the fountain card? Change. Okay, felt like two. We have the Seven of Cups, and this is really about, there's two things with this. First of all, you may be lost in thought about what was. It can be nostalgia. It can be also overthinking things. I love Seven of Cups, but as you can see here, she's frozen in thought, like, I don't know what to do. I have all of these things around me. What am I going to go towards? So taking the Seven of Cups out, don't overthink. Feel it through. Think with this and think with this, not so much with this. So use your third eye and use your heart to just kind of get to the, it's almost like this, like laser beam in on what's the point? Why is this happening? So in the example of a loss of a loved one, part of the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing is I had a loss of a parent, and I just was like, I don't want to spend time the way that parent did, and it was just too much focused on work and not enough satisfaction. So the death gave me perspective and also helped me quit earlier than I would have. I'm like, yep, life is not guaranteed. Life can be short. So I'm going to do more faster. And I'm not going to wait for retirement or whatever I was going to wait for. I don't know what I was waiting for. It woke me up. I've lost jobs before. Like one time I lost a job around Thanksgiving. Not a fun time to get that. And I didn't want to do it anyway. And when I heard that I was laid off, I was relieved. I thought, well, not a good time to get that note, but now I can focus on something else. The only time that I had a rejection that I didn't like is like a first choice of college that I wanted to go to, and I got rejected. But I think where I ended up going, I made relationships and connections that were more important. So perhaps on a cosmic scale, there was a recalibration happening for me where they said, I'm so sorry, you're not going to like this, but we're going to show you some people that are going to help you in the long run. And this is going to open up a whole channel of opportunities, and you won't regret it later. So sometimes the death or the loss just feels crappy. But when you fast forward 5, 10, 15 years, you look back and you think, oh, that's why that happened. Okay. So I'm encouraging you to not let the sort of whatever it is, the loss, the change, the shift, overtake you, because it's going to take time to figure out the context. And no matter how clairvoyant you are, you don't always get permission to see everything in your future, right? There are some things that if you had too much advanced knowledge, you would be scared to do them. You would think you couldn't do them. You would not take that leap of faith. So just imagine that even this really tough stuff that we've all been dealing with this year, there's no way that you could be a human being and not be affected by the pandemic, the unrest, or the changes in the world right now. But let's trust that we're being elevated, awakened, and recalibrated, okay? Brainstorm. It is a good card. Think about stuff. Write it down. Pick one thing and kind of one thing at a time. If you're a cook, you don't want to have like 6 things cooking at once. You're going to burn something. Same thing with the 7 of Cups here. Just focus on a couple things and I think you're going to be okay. You're overthinking it. I see a little bit of paralysis with this. Get an inspiration to move towards it. I used to design things back in the day when I was in a corporate job. I worked as an art director at one point, and you have to pick a vision and execute it. You can do a couple, but you should have one that's really fleshed out and one that you're going to pitch as the main thing. Like, this is what I feel. So I would also give you a little piece of advice from that experience. Don't share things or ideas that you don't want to do, whether it's a portfolio or a resume, or you're talking about things that even in a relationship or a job that you're willing to do. If you don't like doing them, stop offering it up. Stop talking about it. Start talking about what you'd like to do, what you can do. Reframe things up. This is a chance to do it in a better place. Okay. Let's look at the unknown, the fountain card, the exciting one. So let's see what's opening up for you. Two of Pentacles. All right. You need to find some balance in your life right now. This is not always a resource card. It can be read as a financial one. So if you're reading it financially, I would just say, be smart about your money. Don't overextend. But I look at it much more symbolically as, see how this guy's reaching out for help, saying like, I feel a little overwhelmed. I see this and I see all the water, which can be an emotional energy, kind of like weighting this person down, and they're like, I gotta get out, I need some help. So don't be afraid to reach out and know that you can do this. I really do feel like this is something that is within reach for you. There are choices, there are trade-offs, there are opportunity costs. When you decide to do one thing, you give up something else. So as you look at what is possible this month, I just feel like you need to weigh the cost of the opportunity. By doing this, I'm comfortable with not doing this. If I keep doing something that I don't like doing, I'm actually starving the opportunity for growth and discovery in this space. So your unknown fountain card is saying, why not shift it so that you're actually allowing for the new thing that you're kind of a little bit afraid of, but really excited about to come in. Shift around your resources, make the time. You have to make time with Two of Pentacles. It's a balance card. 6 of Pentacles and 2 of Pentacles. 6 is better because you have more than enough. 2, you have to sacrifice something. You have to find a way to sort of like, that's too much. Got to bring it back in. I need to ask for help. I need to delegate a little bit. And that's what I see with that. Now let's just do an unknown wild card, an unknown one. Okay, this is the limit that you don't want to have anymore. So a devil card sometimes scares people, but as you can see with this, it's really just about people being tied to something that they don't want. So if it's a job or a relationship, you've been given double the amount of encouragement as normal with the 2 death cards, that it's time to move on. And this death is going to actually bring about growth and rebirth. So I feel like for some of you, there's a necessary contract that needs to be released. Quitting a job, leaving a relationship, doing something like that, and moving on. Okay? So a quick review, and then we're going to meditate, because I know we're kind of at time today. So thanks to my moderators for sticking around. There was just a lot that came through for this sign today. Okay. Don't overthink. And actually kind of like pick one thing that you really feel good about and move forward with that. When you're communicating with someone as well, don't overwhelm them. Help them see the context. Be more concise. You don't need to put everything in the kitchen sink. If there's something you have to say it, and then move to the next thing. Make some smart choices when it comes to limits, when it comes to honoring that dream or that goal that came through in the fountain. Opportunity costs. Is it worth it? Is it worth what you're putting into it? And then if it's not, rather than just balancing it out, for some of you, it feels like it's time to step away. The last thing with the devil, just like I would see with the 7 of Swords, There's an element of honesty and not getting yourself into a trap. So with the Seven of Swords, you can sometimes lie to yourself. With the Devil card, you can sometimes overcommit. You can make a commitment that you can't keep. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, I'll get that done. Oh, yeah. And sooner or later, you have like 17 things that you're doing, and you're going to miss the deadline, or you're going to upset someone, or you say you're going to come to an engagement, you don't, and then they get angry. Just say no. Just ask for help. Just delegate. This is completely avoidable. It's in the soul path. It's not even in your general spread. So avoid making a contract that you can't keep. And if other people aren't keeping their contracts, hold them accountable with the Justice card. Maybe even go to court if you need to. Otherwise, just say no more. Okay? So easy. Or hopefully it is. Let's go ahead now and meditate together. Before I do that, just a couple quick notes. I would love for you to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little bell icon too. I know that some of you may not be able to get notifications on your devices, maybe because of privacy settings. You can also sign up for my newsletter. If you go to the pinned comment and go to social on my website, there's a newsletter there. And I send that out every month, and you'll get links to all the upcoming videos. I usually send that out around the end or the beginning of the month, so you'll get all the dates that you need. I'd also love you to follow me on social media, because every morning before I go live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I will basically put story reminders, and I actually retweet the sign and the link on Twitter. So my username on all social media is Nicholas Ashbaugh, except Twitter, where it is N Ashbaugh, because they don't allow for 16 character names. So just wanted to throw those out there before we get into the meditation. And I hope you stick around, because yeah, we need to do some work today. So, you know, looking at calling in, I'm looking at my cards and I was remembering what I wanted to do. So I feel like we'll do a little bit of manifestation, and hopefully giving you the sense that you can do whatever you want to do, not being afraid of change. I feel like those are the two things that we'll focus on. Okay. Thanks for sticking around. This will go a couple minutes, probably 5 minutes longer than it usually does, but I appreciate you sticking around for the meditation. So because we had a nightingale come through, I'd like to imagine that we're doing this at night. So see yourself in like at the edge of the forest, and it's a beautiful moon, maybe full moon overhead, so you can see everything. There's a silver glow to everything. You're in a part of the world where there's no street lamps, so it's just the stars overhead. You can just see these beautiful stars, maybe even one of the arms of the Milky Way. And as you are laying on a hammock between two trees, looking up at the stars above you, you close your eyes and you can actually hear that song. You can hear the nightingale sing. And because you're intuitive, maybe the song actually becomes a whisper of something that you should pay attention to, a message from your guide. So the nightingale is going to be your spirit guide today. The song that it's singing is a song of change and growth. And it's reminding you that you've done it before, you can do it again. And you're going to do it better this time, because you're going to enjoy it more, right? So go forward into this period of change and uncertainty with a feeling of, this is like the first day of school. Anything's possible. Nobody knows me. I'm going to get a fresh, clean slate, and I'm going to reinvent myself. As you listen to the nightingale, maybe you even join in on the song, I want you to imagine what it is you're going to create. And visualize it, maybe even speak it as I'm meditating to the universe, so that it can hear, it can receive, and it can help you manifest that. We'll do this for a minute or two, and then I'll rejoin you and pull another card, and we'll wrap up. Take a deep breath. I want you to feel this sense that anything is possible. Imagine that just as the nightingale is flying through the sky, moving towards its potential match that it's been making through its song, that you're also going towards something that's going to feel welcoming, something that you've been calling in, something that you've been excited about. This is your time. This is your moment to really step into your power. And imagine that you've kind of wrapped yourself in the energy of possibility, in the energy of change. As you look up at the silver moon and the beautiful stars above you, that light from the past is coming through, reminding you of all that once was and all that can be again. Because when we look up at the sky, we're really looking up at history. We're looking up at mirrors of ourselves, mirrors of the past too. So that's proof that there's amazing things out there in the universe. You're part of that. So own your power, own your strength. Rub your hands together, feel the warmth and energy that you always have within yourself. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. Take a deep breath. Make a little promise to yourself that you're going to work on manifesting whatever your dream is. Trust the message from the nightingale that you can do it. And with one final breath, you can gently open your eyes. Welcome back. So I'd like you to focus this month on really trying to, in the morning, I think mornings are more powerful because if you're like me, by the end of the day, you're wiped out. It's hard to meditate. If you try to do it, you're probably going to fall asleep. So if you could maybe get up 5 or 10 minutes early, not asking for a lot, and just sit there and write something down in your, if you have a little journal, or you could tap it in your phone, or you could just, in the shower when you're getting ready in the morning, you could just intend to do something and really see it and feel it and repeat it. And no one's going to hear you because the shower is going and everything. So just talk a little bit to yourself and bring it into fruition using your voice, because as you speak it, you create it. We'll do one last card and then we're going to wrap up. King of Cups. Yay, great card to end on. So this is really connecting to a place of creativity, joy, be happy. And I really think we forget sometimes that divine right to happiness. So if you're not happy, if you're stuck in something that doesn't feel good anymore, you deserve to be happy. Whether you're happy alone or happy together, it doesn't matter. This thing that is coming through is that potential contract that you can't say no to, or you can't fulfill. It's time to let that one go. Okay. Just a couple quick notes here before I wrap up. As I said, I'm going to also pull this open if I can find my text here. My website is at the top. It's nicholasashbaugh.com. You can find a lot of information on my website, including how to get in touch with me. All the social media links that I put out are here. Thanks, Maria, for putting a link to my book. I'll talk about that in a second. So again, I'd love for you to join me on social media. If you haven't hit like and subscribe, the reason that all of us YouTubers say that is it actually does make a difference in the algorithm and it helps people find the channel. So if you want to share what you see here on your social media platforms, do it. You can like me on any of my platforms and then just reshare, retweet, etc. Helps a lot. Thank you to everyone that was kind enough to do a super chat or super sticker. When I have time later today, when I do the recap, I will put a little thank you in the comments. Usually as a pinned comment, I do 2 or 3 replies to that. You saw that Maria put a link to my book. If you like fantasy and sci-fi, I was talking a lot about 2001. I liked that. I liked Lord of the Rings. I liked A Wrinkle in Time, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. If you like fantasy and science fiction, you may like my book. It's available in paperback and hardcover, and Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and then overseas, there's a lot of different options. So if you go to the main page where I have all the books, you can just kind of click and go to international sellers and you'll see a bunch there. You can see some of them here actually, but there's even more now than when I took the screenshot. So, so take a look, love for you to help out. Goes right back into supporting what I do here. And if you happen to be watching this on replay, there's an applaud button. And whenever you do that, it puts a little comment, it lets me know that you did it. And it's a great way to support it. Anybody here with green text actually is a channel member. You can do that through the join button. And then I also have Patreon as a way to give back, and of course PayPal. I'll put those links for you in case you prefer to sort of be off the Google ecosystem. I understand that. And a lot of times I get questions about when the next videos are coming through. Here's a link to the live video schedule that I have. It's always on my website. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for sticking around. I know we went a couple minutes over, but important messages came through and I had to get them all out. So I appreciate your patience and your time. I wish you all the best. I will be back tomorrow for Libra. So feel free to join in if you can. And if that's in your chart, or if you just want to hang out, you're welcome. All right, everybody, have a fantastic Thursday and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.